level. I'm a rival line up cause I'm a top rebel. Look in my eyes, this is my time. Step up, rise up, strike first, bring it on.
Hello all, Remus Caine here. The best there is. And I've just been looking through this list that I have here. Yes, for all you SWF wrestlers watching out there, it doesn't look like much, but this is just one of the few lists that I have of all the things that have been planned for SWF. But that's not what today is all about. I'd first like to address the fact that I'm meant to be in a match between Crimson and Daniel Banner, who I've recently defeated at Redemption, for my Sheffield title. With the current state of the world, that's not going to happen anytime soon, which means that the Sheffield and Cruiserweight titles are going to be in my possession and my caring hands for quite some time now. And don't worry, I'll be looking after them very, very well. But this also means that the Cruiserweight tournament will also be put on hold, seeing as I believe that people should earn their title opportunities and not just be given to them by some short stack of a man who pretends he's running a company. Still can't wait to see who'll win that one, so I can put them back into their place. No, today I just want to make my viewpoints on certain wrestlers very clear. So this series of videos will allow people to get further insight into not only how I think, but also what I think of the other wrestlers on the roster. So I suppose, who should I start with? Because there's plenty to choose from. I have a lot of opinions on a lot of people, and very few of them are good ones. I already have it. I suppose I should start with the one person who actually did some good for me to start with. I owe him that much, after all, and I did take his title away at one point and make it my own. Kieron Hayes. From what you can gather, if you have ever seen any of his work, he's someone who's been with SWF for many, many years now. Someone who's become somewhat of a veteran in the company. And someone who, by his account, should already be in the world title picture. And congratulations on gaining the Intercontinental Championship and holding on to it, Kieron. That's my due praise from the student who is now the master to you. Yes, I first met Kieron at a training event that was being held by Sidesplitter, the quote-unquote head of SWF. And he saw potential in me, a potential that I knew I had at the time, but I didn't know how to use. And he offered me a chance to be a part of SWF. He offered me a chance to showcase what I can really do. He was that generous, in fact. He gave me a title match on my first ever day there. my first ever match was a title match. At that point, I have to admit, I was very privileged. I know that not all titles are equal because at this point he held the Sheffield title that is in my possession. So we already know how this goes out, but not in the way that you think. My first ever match, I lost to him. Fair and square. My second match, however, I had against him not too long after. This was a non-title match. I wanted to prove that I could beat him, but I also wanted to prove that it wouldn't be a fluke when I beat him again. The second match I had, I defeated him. I didn't gain the title, nor did I want to at that point. I just wanted to show that I could hang with what I thought was the best at this point, with who I thought could truly show me the ways that I needed to know. Eventually, we had our third match. And this was for the SWF Sheffield Championship. And I won. I took the belt away from him. And there was an air of respect at that point, as the man that he had been teaching, as well as facing on a regular basis, had in a way surpassed him, but not. See, I could never do some of the things that Kieron Hayes does. But in turn, a lot of the things that I do, I can imagine that Kieron cannot do. And that's just the way that things are. And on that day, a sort of bond was made. One that didn't last forever, though. But before that, I was offered a place in the ranks of an alliance that he formed, Alliance 76, which comprised of him, Josh Wilmot, and Corey Cobain, who is no longer a part of this company. Good riddance. He offered me a spot to become a dominant force within SWF, to become something greater. And this was all done in secrecy, so no one knew that this was happening. Until Doncaster of last year. I was put into a tag team match with Daniel Banner in my corner, and on the other side was Josh Wilmot and Kieron Hayes. Little did they know from the rest of the roster that I would betray Daniel Banner to join Kieron and Josh and triple powerbomb him straight into the dirt where Banner belongs. And then afterwards, Side Splitter wasn't happy with that, so he got half the roster involved in this to take on myself, Kieron, Josh, and Corey Cobain. This was a match that we won. It was our first match as a team, and we showed them that we were better than a lot of the other wrestlers in that company. At this point, I looked up to Kieron as a leader, and he needed good, strong soldiers. But then I started to see the cracks in this alliance that he had made. Cracks between Corey Cobain and Josh Wilmot due to Corey Cobain's vulgar attitude towards his friends. And Kieron's lack of enforcing a bond between us, of reminding us of that bond. It was at this point that I had also met Richard as well. and he showed me a different path. That meant that, ultimately, when things started to degrade between everyone in Alliance 76, I had no reason to stay. Even Kieron wasn't a good enough reason to stay. He lacked the leadership qualities that were needed to keep that group together. To keep it strong. To keep it unified. To keep it, funnily enough, as an alliance. Personally, I think it was a mistake letting Corey Cobain into the group, but I had to make face with him as part of the plan. Truth be told, other than when he dislocated my shoulder, of which I've already paid him back for, I never really had any problems with Kieron Hayes. He never got in the way of my work, and dare say I never got in the way of his. For he never really fits into any of the plans that myself, Richard, and now Robert DeCaro are creating together. He's just there. And we don't know what to do with him. We don't know if he'll be a good ally. We don't know if he'll be an enemy. And in a way, I suppose that's the best position for Kieron to be in. As someone who's just there. Doesn't really mean much. Sure, he's the Intercontinental Champion. So? All he does with it, and I'll admit, he defends it on a regular basis. And that's something I've always admired in him. The fact that he will, unlike a lot of other wrestlers. Crimson. Crisis. No, can't even say Side Splitter because that's the only good thing that he does. He just doesn't fit Kieron. It's almost like he doesn't exist in our plans. And I'll always be grateful in a way of him bringing me into the fold of SWF. But the person that I am now is not the same person that he helped to create. He was useful, is the best word to use. But he's not essential. I thank him for joining our group at Apocalypse when it was my team against Side Splitters. And to be fair, he's always had a problem with Side Splitters' dictatorial regime. But that's it, really. He is neither friend nor foe, nor useless or useful to me. I have no true negative or positive opinions towards him. He's just there. I don't think SWF would miss him if he were to leave. And I know that SWF isn't really noticing him as he's staying here. So why is he still here? He claims that he's something better than what he is. Why isn't he doing better? If he was truly the best, then he would have the world title already. He would have had multiple consecutive runs with it within the company. But he hasn't. And that perplexes me. It makes me confused about him. It could just be bad luck. It could be bad booking. It could be that it's yet another person that Side Splitter currently is afraid of, but Side Splitter wasn't always the champion. So, if he was truly the best, he would have already been champion with the world title. just my thoughts. And I'm sure that he'll respond in kind. He does have a talkative mind, just like I do. Now, I'm going to leave a list of individuals below in the description that you can choose from for me to talk about next. And no, I'm not going to say them on camera just for you. I don't peddle towards you all. I do what I do because I want to. You just have the honor of watching it. Now, I'll see you all in the next video, and I suppose I should post in the obligatory leave, like, subscribe, share, whatever. 'Cause that's what we do nowadays. Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. So, I'll see you all in the next one.